Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dinkytown Sports. Today, we recap the amazing wins from Minnesota and Alabama, and we make our predictions for Week 6. Enjoy the show.
And welcome back to the Dinkytown Sports Podcast with your host Cody Hain, Cameron Matson, and Christian Otati. Hey boys, how's it going?
Hello.
Sorry. Rough week for us picking, just throwing that out there. We had a good week for our teams, but rough week of picking.
Yeah, made up for it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna run through how we did last week. We all took Minnesota by 4.5. If Minnesota plays like they did from like 10 minutes in the second quarter on, that would have hit easily. Kind of rough on that. We outscored them 31-14 after the first quarter. So.
Yeah, bad beat.
Yeah. TCU Arizona State. Cam and Zach got it wrong. They took ASU minus 3.5. Me and Christian took TCU plus 3.5. That was going to be a bad beat for whoever got beat in that one.
Mm-hmm.
That was an insane game. 2 penalties by Arizona State at the goal line saved the plus 3.5 for us there, and
thank God.
Kind of messed with Cam and Zach, so bad beat. Next we had the USC Illinois game. What a bounce back by Illinois this week, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about them.
Neither do I. Unless Indiana is just that good and we don't realize it. Yeah, I have no idea. Me, Christian, and Cam, we all took USC minus 6.5 because for obvious reasons after them getting blown out. Zach had his stupid pick of the week, Illinois money line. He's doing really good on his stupid pick of the weeks this week.
Yeah, really. I think he's got 2 of them already, right? At least.
Yeah, he's got 2. Yeah. Up next, we had number 1 Ohio State at Washington. Christian was the only one that got this wrong. He took Washington plus 7.5. I mean, they held tough, but
can you blame me?
no, I can't actually. But then the rest of us took OSU minus 7.5. We all got this one right.
The red shirts could have beat Washington.
I don't think so. Ohio State didn't look great until the second half, so.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that game after the first half. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I didn't get to watch many of the Saturday games, pretty much only the Gopher game, but I was kind of scoreboard watching. The LSU Ole Miss game, we all got this one right. Cam took Ole Miss money line. Christian took the under, which hit. I took the Ole Miss money line, and Zach took the under. So we all got one right together this week.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we had Indiana at Iowa. I should have known better than to pick Indiana by 7.5, playing in Kinnick, because Kinnick is a difficult place to play for anybody. Seems like it's always a slog fest there. Christian got it right. He took Iowa plus 7.5. Attaboy.
That's right.
Attaboy. And then up next, we had number 15, Tennessee, taking on Mississippi State. Cameron took the over at 63.5 and lost. Me and Christian took Tennessee minus 7.5 and lost. And Zach took the under, which hit. So, good for you, Zach. Up next, this was a great game. Kind of a bad beat since it was tied at the end of regulation. Number 6, Oregon at number 3, Penn State. The over hit. Thank God for overtime there, Cam. Christian took Penn State minus 3.5 and lost. I took Oregon minus 3.5. That hit. And then Zach took Penn State minus 3.5. He also put in that it's their year. He's obviously wrong. James Franklin will never get them over the hump.
Sure.
Up next, we had the Bama UGA game. Christian was the only one that got this right. He took Bama plus 3.5. He's going to say that he knows ball, but he just was being a homer.
I know ball. What? I know ball. What are you talking about?
Everyone took UGA minus 3.5 except for Christian. The week records turned out Cam 3-6, Christian 4-5, me 4-5, and Zach 4-5. The overall records coming into this week are 18-21 for Cam, 16-24 for Christian, 16-24 for me, and 19-21 for Zach. Boys, I'm embarrassed. How are we letting Zach have the best winning percentage out of any of us?
A broken clock is right twice a day.
The only reason why I'm not tied with him is because I missed the chance to make a pick. So
Yep. Sounds like somebody needs to get their picks in. No. Hey, we're gonna talk about these two games for Bama and Minnesota here. Which one would you boys like to start with?
Start with
Crimson
Minnesota.
Tide?
No, let's start with Minnesota.
All right. Well, Minnesota game. My notes from it is let Drake Lindsey throw the football.
Yes.
Minnesota
Yep.
in the second. First drive of the third quarter, we look like an air raid offense. 11 passes on 13 plays. Like,
That's what you guys should be. You guys should be
Yeah.
rocking a spread. Go for it, Cam.
we should at least be like we should at least look to throw the ball more if there's no Darius Taylor in the backfield.
I think with Darius Taylor, you still need to throw.
yeah, you got to take the load off Taylor.
It's going to open up so many opportunities. I feel like if we can come out passing the ball a little bit more, everything's just going to open up. I mean, they're not going to be able to stack the box like they always do against us. And I mean, we all know his agility and his cutability is next level. So if he gets an open field, he can at least break one. I mean, that just maximizes their chances to go and score more points.
No, that first quarter though, Christian said it. He's turning into the jaded Minnesota fan slowly but surely. He said this one was over in the first quarter. I am proud of my boy.
Yes, well, I mean, it didn't look great. They had a couple 3-and-outs, I think, right away that were not looking good, and I think Fleck actually finally adjusted, and he was like, he told Harbaugh, he was like, man, just throw the ball, and that's what it took. Because if you think about it, I don't think we had that many passing attempts the first few drives, and Drake Lindsey still ended up with 40 attempts. So that just goes to show how much he threw the ball the rest of the game.
Yeah, and I think the turning point, besides the blocked field goal, which was absolutely massive later in the game, but that happened first drive, so we can't really say that was a turning point. Turning point for me was that 78-yard pass to Javon Tracy. That
Jalen
was
Smith.
Jalen Smith, sorry.
Yes.
Getting the players mixed up in my head. You know who I meant. But that was a heck of a pass. I mean, that was a dart. Like,
he's got a great deep
Nice.
ball, a lot of arc on it, lets him run under it. Very, everyone says this about deep balls, but if you have one of those, it's very Russell Wilson-esque, and that lends itself to a lot of great deep plays. He missed on a couple, just barely. I think a couple of them were catchable. Just didn't feel like they wanted to lay out as much, but he's got the arm. He's got a lot of juice, and his touch is phenomenal.
and those misses you were talking about, a lot of them came with dudes like right up in his face too. So even if they're, a foot off, to be able to throw that next year, he'll be able to hit those more than likely.
I think this year he'll be able to do
towards
it.
the end of the year. Yeah.
The other thing I took from it is think about how many picks we dropped that game.
Yeah,
Like,
there was
the other thing I took from our right. The other thing I took from our defense is our run defense was atrocious for quite a bit of the game, and then they really turned around and we got stops when we needed to, and that's the game of football: is capitalize on your stops, go get some points, and defense really turned it around. Defense stepped up when it was. I mean, our safeties outside of the first quarter played a hell of a game.
I would just like to throw out there about especially in the second half, not so much the first, when they put up their points in the first quarter. In the first half, they were gunslinging. I'm wondering if at halftime they didn't adjust and they're like, we'll give up chunks on the ground, but we're going to shut down their throwing game because that's where they want to live. So I'm wondering if that wasn't part of the adjustments, and we missed tackles, which is not good. But I'm wondering if we just didn't rally to the ball because we were focusing on the passing game.
It's kind of what I took from it. It wasn't exactly offensive scheming. I think it was more just the missed tackles that, I mean, we could have held them to 2-3 yards, but we miss a tackle and they go break off for 8, 9, 10 yards. So that's, I mean, probably not even like we were bad at tackling. It's just You're just kind of caught out of position, and it was a one-on-one tackle, and sometimes we just didn't make the tackle. But
yeah, it was. Also, that interception that we had, that return was insane. That was a nice return. And the play right before we got the interception, we had dropped an interception.
Yep.
Callie McManus had something like 5 turnover-worthy plays or something that game. You had the interception, you had the drop. Heck, even when they scored their first touchdown, we had he started out 9 for 9, but after that 9 for 9, he started getting wild. It was
the
nice.
Stat came across the TV. He was like, after he went 9 for 9, he was like 8 for 17 after that.
Yeah, he had a rough game after that. I feel like we made the right decision in letting Callie McManus go. As soon as he had any pressure on him, he kind of crumbled.
Oh, it's no question now.
I'm not even talking game pressure, just like pressure of the situation. I'm talking defensive pressure. Our defense finally started getting after the quarterback.
That's what I thought the big difference was between that first quarter and then the rest of the game. You're actually getting Ethan, and you know how he does. When he's getting hit, he just turns into something else. So that was a big thing.
Pulls a Kirk Cousins and just folds into the pressure.
Yeah.
And try to move, he just drops down.
Yeah. And since we we didn't really rip on him, but we pointed it out that Coy Parrish had a bad game. What a bounce back game from him this week.
You know, I didn't. Yeah, he had the kick return, but I don't think he was all there yet.
Massive sack.
Kerry Brown kind of was.
Kerry Brown was a star.
John Nestor. They were the guys in the DB group that I felt were playing way better. Kerry was one of them that dropped the interception thrown in the front left of the end zone. I think it was in the second quarter or something. He could have had more.
He also had the pick.
I think it's inspiring that the rest of the team is stepping up in these moments when I don't think that Coy is 100% there yet. I'm sure that the return that he had, the 80-yard return, boosted his confidence a little bit. So I'm expecting him to get better slowly as the year goes on. But I'm very happy to see that the rest of the team is playing well.
Yeah, and he committed a crime on Callie McManus with that sack. That was a massive hit. Yeah,
he was a free runner, and then Callie McManus took a sidestep right into his path of the train and got laid out.
So I was listening
to Cody's point there. When was the last time we've seen the Gophers hit like that? I mean, there were plenty of big hits in that game.
I would say 2019 probably. Our defense was fast and liked to hit.
Well, they probably had a little bit to go into the game. Fleck was like, Callie McManus left, the coaching staff, we had Soraka, and then the defensive coordinator
guy. Yeah,
I think the defensive coordinator was an assistant, and it's just like it meant a little more, and you could tell after the first quarter that Fleck got in their ear about how this was personal. Maverick had a couple huge hits, and they were laying the pressure, and that felt really good.
Before we move on to Bama here, I was listening to other people talk about this game because I wanted to hear them talk about the comeback for obvious reasons. That was insane. That was nice. But when Callie McManus scored the second touchdown, it was in front of the student section. He goes up to the student section and held his hand up to his ear. And after that, he sucked. So, but at that point in time, he had the right 9 for 9, 2 tutties. Like, he was going off, and then I don't know if that, at halftime, I don't know if they were sitting there showing him what he was doing or what, but they seemed to be a lot more fired up after that happened.
Yeah, well, it was personal, and you could feel it in the crowd. You could feel it in the stadium. You could feel it by the players and the coaching staff. It's funny because there's not like I don't think a real natural rivalry between Minnesota and Rutgers, but it felt like one of those games against Iowa and Wisconsin, and that was really cool to see. The crowd was juiced all night. I don't know. I really enjoyed watching this game.
Yeah, it was a heck of a game, and before we move on to that sack that Parrish had, people that know a lot more football than we do and actually played defensive back, that was actually a choice. That wasn't a designed blitz. He saw him moving out of the pocket, and he had no one in his zone, so he took off. Like, those are instincts. Like, that's something you just can't teach a player.
He's an athlete.
So
yeah, that's for sure.
It was a fun game to watch for sure. Shout out to that Rutgers kicker. That 56-yarder scared me for a minute. That was a bomb.
I mean, you can't expect him to go in there like that. He
had
plenty of leg, but
he didn't miss by much either.
Mm-mm.
Like for being cold all game, because he didn't kick any of the other field goals or extra points. And then the other thing is too, what kind of worried me a little bit, for if we're getting into just some quick nitpick here, end of half, Gophers have the ball. We have that huge kick return by Parrish. You have 8 seconds left, no timeouts. Typically, you try to get 5 more yards to get out of bounds, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Even so, even if you're not going to do that, that's not even my nitpick. My nitpick is our field goal kicker was all the way at the other end of the field, still warming up. And he had to sprint all the way back, and they snapped the ball with 1 second on the play clock, and he missed extremely wide right. Now, I'm not saying he makes it if he's there and ready, but that is terrible game management, which is a bugaboo that Fleck has had since he's been here. So, and 10 guys on the field. To me, that's coaching. Like,
yeah, and it was funny because the broadcast team was mentioning how good the two coaches were at that sort of thing, and then that happened, and I was like, that's pretty funny, ironic that it happened. But
I don't know where they're getting that. Both teams are. I don't know about Rutgers, but Minnesota burns their timeouts willy-nilly all the time. I don't know what they're talking about for game management.
Yeah, I was confused when he said it too, but
they were just hyping up the two teams that were playing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, Christian, I didn't get to see the Bama game, so you get center stage on this one, big guy.
Well, it was great. You missed a banger. Bama's back, I think, in my opinion. I think that they're so back. It's not even funny. Because one of the major questions you had with DeBoer is, can he go win the big one away? Because he's been bad out of Bryant-Denny Stadium. And I think that this quelled all of that. That really put a kibosh to the idea that he can't win out of Bryant-Denny Stadium. And especially early going, and they got up to a 14-point lead like almost instantly. And I think it was just 2 drives. They got a stop, and then they scored, and then they got another stop, and then they scored. And that's just like, that hasn't been seen with DeBoer yet. He doesn't start hot, except for, I guess, Georgia last year too, when they scored 28 straight and then choked it away. And that it kind of felt the same, because they started off with a big lead and then kind of didn't really do anything on offense, and Georgia slowly crept back. But what changed was the end, and I think Ty Simpson is the real deal. I think he's second Heisman favorite now. He kept it clean all night, no picks, and our defense played really well. Got to Gunnar Stockton, who I don't think is ready for the big time yet. But just overall, a really big win, and definitely a statement win, because I think a lot of people were pretty much saying that Bama was dead, the dynasty's done. Obviously, it's not going to be the same, but I think that there's still a team that can compete in the playoffs, and I think they proved it.
Yeah, so I know I didn't watch the game, but I think we said this last week. We had serious questions about Georgia and Bama, because the only team right now that's undefeated and played a good team at the moment is Oregon.
Yeah.
Because they played Penn State. Everyone else seems to either have a loss or they beat up on teams that just aren't that great-ish. Bama answered some of the questions, but my question now is, can they sustain it? Because, yeah, he got his win outside of Bryant-Denny.
Yeah.
He did that. But look at Franklin. He has 4 wins against top 10 teams.
Yeah.
It's going to take more than one game for me to be like, yeah, Bama's back to where they were before.
Yeah, got to keep the foot on the pedal, and we'll get to it. But next week's matchup should help cement
because
that.
if they come out and lay an egg next week, I'm gonna still question
for sure
everything that I have been questioning. But no, good for Bama to get back on track. That is a big win. Georgia is still a good team, even though I have questions about them. It just seems like, and this isn't me being a Big Ten fan, it just seems like the SEC's kind of down this year. just from watching. I don't know what Vanderbilt's going to do. Maybe Vandy took all the good recruits. I don't know.
It's funny because that's how I feel about the Big Ten, and I was tweeting it earlier in the year. I was like, this is the worst the Big Ten has been in a while. I think just everybody is worse altogether.
It's almost like the talent is evening out. Like, there's not as much high-end talent on a single team anymore.
NIL, what they wanted to achieve out of it, I think they did achieve. It's just like, at what cost? So,
yeah,
we'll see.
For sure. But
the only question for Emma, I mean, they did have a very nice win, but we still don't know what we have. So it's how bad does Bama lose this week to Vanderbilt?
We'll get to that.
It's backwards. But yeah, we will get to that and much more. We got some other fun games to talk about. Not as fun as last week, but
nothing to match up to last week.
Hopefully some upsets to make this week better. But, yeah, I just think because we said the Big Ten was down, and we should put asterisks next to saying that because, like I said, Vandy, I believe they're undefeated, correct?
Yeah.
Indiana's undefeated. They played Iowa close, but it seems like every big game in Kinnick is a close game. Like, whether it's Ohio State, Michigan. I know Ohio State blew them out last time they were there, but normally it's a pretty tight game at Kinnick no matter who you are. But, yeah, I don't know who's the premier conference right now. Obviously, it's between the Big Ten and SEC, but I have questions about both.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think after this week we're going to be able to tell who's really the top of their conference, but I think middle conference on both sides are kind of interchangeable, pretty weak altogether. Like what do you actually have out of Illinois? We don't know yet, but I think you can kind of say that Oregon is probably the cream of the Big Ten right now. And
I would go with that, yeah.
And I think that after this week that you'll see that probably Bama, Oklahoma are probably the top of the SEC. I still think Texas has a few question marks that need to be answered. But, yeah, we can get
knocking Georgia right out of there, huh?
Well, if you got to beat the best to be the best, and they didn't. So that's what I think.
And Georgia hasn't looked good, so it's not like they've looked world beaters.
It was at home. You can't lose in Athens. That's just not
right.
Like, it's like Penn State, man. I don't know how they lose a whiteout at home while ranked higher than Oregon. I just don't know how it's possible.
It's insane. They brought up the stat for James Franklin, and he's like 4-21 against top 10 teams, and he's like 3-something against Ohio State and Michigan. And Michigan's not a perennial powerhouse. Like, they were good for 4 years, but before that, they weren't great.
Right.
They have question marks this year still. Like, it's not like they've been some Ohio. Like, it's not like they're Ohio State and they're in the CFP talks every year. So I have serious questions, and it's the same questions we've been asking. Can James Franklin win the big game?
He can't. I think we know this already.
With that interception in the second overtime, like, why they tried taking a shot at the end zone, like.
I mean, Drew Aller. Oh my gosh,
he is not the quarterback to win you the Big Ten games either. So
Kyra says, really hoping we don't have a repeat of last year with Vandy. By the way, she sent in a chat. I agree. Go for it, Cam.
For sure.
Oh, I was just saying we were questioning Drew Aller last year too. Like obviously James Franklin has his battle already with not being able to beat the top team. I still don't think Drew Aller's a championship caliber I don't even think he's a Big Ten championship caliber quarterback.
No.
I think the team he has surrounding him would compete for a Big Ten championship. I think he's really handicapping them on offense. They'll have his games where he does really well, and he'll even maybe throw in a rushing touchdown. But then when it comes to big games, you don't even know who you have back there.
Well, it doesn't help because him being so mediocre, I think Penn State, I've been saying this for a while, has the best running back duo in the country. I think, bar none,
Agreed.
Katron Allen and Nick Singleton are the best duo in the country. They have nowhere to run because nobody's scared of Drew Aller's arm. Nobody's scared of what he can do. And like you were saying, that's what handicaps them. It's not even just like his play, because he keeps it clean occasionally and sometimes he gets in trouble, but he just is not threatening in any way. And
typically, he just makes one big mistake in all the big games. The one mistake that you can't have, the double overtime pick, for example. Like, that's the one. He makes one game destroying mistake, and that's all it takes. So, we've been on Penn State like that since we pretty much started the podcast.
Yeah.
Very true.
So we don't really need to go much more into depth about them. So we're just gonna move into our picks here, boys, for this week. Can't wait to talk about the Minnesota-Ohio State game and the Bama game. Those are gonna be two fun ones to talk about here. But first up, we got Iowa State at Cincinnati. So Cincinnati is favored at home by 1.5, and the over/under is set at 53.5. Cam, we will let you start off the picks this week.
Going back to the last 5 games, I feel like Iowa State probably has the better quality opponents. They've played Iowa, they've played Arizona, who I don't think is that bad of a team. And then you jump over to Cincinnati. They had a nice win against Kansas, but outside of that, I mean, they've lost in Nebraska, which, do we really know what Nebraska's like?
No.
But what I've seen is points will be scored. I like where the over's set. I feel like it's set a little bit low for this game, even though it opened at 51.5. I will be taking the over of 53.5.
We got to get your camera flipped around.
Yeah, you're right. You got to write everything backwards. Over.
I am writing everything backwards.
No.
It's backwards on our screen.
It's left to right incorrect, not the letters.
Yeah. Yeah, every time you've done that, it's been backwards. Okay. So Cam's taking the over in this game. I'm taking Iowa State here. I think Iowa State's a better team. Personally, they beat Arizona, who I don't think's a great team, but they're a decent team, and they beat them by 15. And Cincinnati played KU 37-34. We don't really know what Kansas is. They beat Northwestern State and Bowling Green State, but they only beat Bowling Green by 14. So, and they lost to Nebraska by 3. I'm going to take Iowa State here. I think Iowa State has proven they can win these big games, especially after last year. They won a ton of big games. So I'm going to take Iowa State plus the 1.5 here. So.
And I'll just hop right in. I'm scared of this game because it feels like one of those trap games where I have been not on Iowa State's side so far this year. I've felt like they haven't really proved anything special, and I think that they're a little overrated. I really like Cincinnati. Everyone knows that I'm a Brendan Sorsby truther, and I think that he's probably better than Rocco Becht is as a player, but altogether, are you going to get the same talent at Cincinnati that you are at Iowa State, considering how good Iowa State's been for the past probably 5 years, you know? I don't think so, and I think that's going to make the difference. But Cam is right. The over is set low. I think that it's not like you got to shut down defense on either side, and there's enough offensive firepower. I think I'm going to go with the over here too, and I'm leaning towards Iowa State winning, but I'm gonna go with the over here.
Yeah, the only reason I took the Iowa State plus the 1.5 is because neither team, like, I get Cincy played Nebraska at the beginning of the year, but Nebraska, I don't know what they are yet. They look kind of funky. I mean, they played tough against Michigan, but they look funky. I don't know. So, and then the close game with Bowling Green. Like, I just think Iowa State's proven more this year so far, even though they haven't proven a lot either. That Kansas State win, which looked good, does not look that good right now. So, but anyways, on to the next game. We have an SEC battle. Number 9, Texas at Florida. This one's interesting to me before we get into our picks because Florida has not been playing well, but they have Lagway, who is an athletic quarterback and can go off in games. He's shown that before. And I have questions about Texas. So, Christian, you're the SEC guru. We'll let you start this one off.
Yeah, I mean, this one on paper looks interesting, but I think Texas pretty easily wins this game. I just have no confidence in Florida, and we've seen what Lagway can do in a game where he's playing a good defense and he throws 5 interceptions. So, and I think that Texas's defense is pretty solid. They haven't really given up much to anyone, including their Ohio State game. They kept it to 2 scores. So I think the defense is going to make the difference. Obviously, everyone is concerned with Arch Manning. I think that he's not really all he's cracked up to be. I think everyone's bashing on him. I won't even get into it. But I think that just as a team overall, Texas is a better roster. So, and the over-under is like crazy low, but I'm still scared to touch it because I don't think that either offense is going to be able to score points. But I'm just going to stick with Texas minus 6.5. They only need to win by a touchdown. I'm feeling good about that.
Cam, who do you got in this matchup?
Like Christian was saying, I'm not sold on Arch Manning at all. But what I am sold on is Texas has a pretty good defense. I mean, limiting Ohio State to 14 points. After that, giving up a total of 31 points in your first 4 games is, I'd say that's pretty good. I'm not high on Florida. I really want to take the under. 41.5 scares me. But I do agree with Christian. I think 6.5 is a safer bet. This game could easily be 21-7, and we cover easy. The under could hit too, but I do think Texas is the safe bet. So I'm going to go with Texas.
So much for me trying to build up some steam for this game. Everyone's shooting that down. I'm also going to take Texas minus 6.5. Arch Manning is a decent quarterback. I don't think he's what they said he was. And they basically said that he was like God's gift to Texas football.
They said he was the next Peyton Manning.
I mean, his stats are similar to Peyton's this far in. But it's the eye test to me. Like, every time I've watched him play, I haven't been thoroughly impressed. So I'm going to take Texas minus 6.5, saying that I think Texas is the better all-around team. And it's mostly because of their defense in this case. Now, saying that, I know Lagway is turnover crazy, but last year he showed that his crazy athleticism can change a game too. Just to kind of keep the hype up on this game a little bit. But I still think Texas covers the 6.5 point spread. So, up next, we have a really fun one. Vandy, the football school, taking on Bama in Tuscaloosa. Bama's favored by 10.5, and the over-under is set at 56.5. No defense, huh?
No, I guess not. Well, I don't blame them because Alabama's kind of gotten run through in their games, even though they've won the past few. I think they gave up 200 plus rushing yards against Georgia. So they have an obvious weakness on defense, and that is something that I don't doubt Vanderbilt will exploit at their leisure. But I think what's good about this year is that you know what you got. If you're Alabama, you've seen them before. You know how they're going to operate their offense. You have tape on basically their entire team. Their coaching staff is still the same. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get Pavia running the football. You're going to get Pavia triple option. You're going to get all of that. You're going to get a Gus Malzahn type game plan, and they need to be prepared for that. And I don't doubt that they are. And I'm extremely confident them at home wanting revenge against a ranked team. Ty Simpson has already come out and said that this is probably the biggest game of the year for them. He said that. So I think that they're taking it seriously, very seriously this year. And as they should, because Vanderbilt is a really good team. They're well coached. I can't believe Pavia got his waiver.
Yeah, that was dumb.
If he didn't, I wasn't going to be scared at all. But he did, so he's back, and I think the line. The line is scary a little bit. 10.5.
Yeah, that 10.5. Yeah,
that's a little bit scary. So
there's not really a great line, in my opinion, on this one.
Yeah, I think they set this pretty well. I don't know. It just this Bama team after Florida State feels like they have a lot to prove, and this is the game where they want to prove a lot, considering that they lost this game last year. It was embarrassing, and I think they're going to want their comeback, and I think DeBoer is going to come in with a really nice script early on. It's just up to Kane Womack, our defensive coordinator, to see if he really wants it, and I think he does. So I'm gonna go Bama minus 10.5. I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna win by a lot. I'm hoping, at least. So
yeah, with this one, you're going with a lot of feeling because of where the line is set.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with pretty much everything you said. My only issue is the fact that Bama's defense is very susceptible to the run.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, you're going to be focusing on the triple option, Pavia using his legs. But to me, even if you're focusing on that, it's going to make it even tougher on your defense because they have to guard 11 guys and not 10 with the quarterback sitting in the pocket.
Yeah, that's not where I'm worried, though, because I think our DBs are phenomenal. I think Bray Hubbard and them back there, that's a really good group. I'm not super duper worried about that. I would be worried about the front seven getting ripped up. So I don't know.
All right. So, I mean, even if your DBs are making a tackle on the triple option, it's not always a good thing because that means someone blue contain and your DBs are making the plays on them.
Mm-hmm.
And the triple option, if you run the triple option right, there should always be yards to get.
It's a tough,
if you
tough
run it
one
right.
to defend.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and they modernized it because I believe they did the triple option fake the handoff quarterback runs where you can throw it out to the sideline, right?
They're up to date. They're not running the Cornhuskers offense from the 90s.
Yeah, they're not running the actual They're running the triple option, but not the classic triple option. Saying all that, I am going to take Bama minus 10.5. I hate the over/under. I think Bama does have something to prove, and it's since they're at home is the big reason I'm taking them. If this was away, I would take Vandy plus 10.5.
Mm-hmm.
But since Bama's at home, I'm going to take Bama.
The crowd needs to take Vandy out of this game. They need to have Pavia false starting, missing snaps all night. So I'm hoping they show up. I don't know if they set the time for this game yet. It's 3:30. I wish it was a night game, but whatever.
So do I, actually.
Those fans will still be drunk and rowdy. It's okay.
That's true.
2:30, yeah. That's a good time. Cam, who do you got in this one?
Oh, boys. As we all know, Alabama beat Georgia last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who'd they play the next week?
Vandy, I'm assuming.
They lost to Vanderbilt. Honestly, don't think there's absolutely no shot that Alabama does it 2 years in a row. Like Christian was saying, they know what they're going to run. They've got plenty of film. Avia only has 294 rushing yards on the year. I'll give him credit. He's been throwing the ball pretty well. But the reason they're ranked so high is because they're undefeated. But look at the teams they've played so far. Vanderbilt really hasn't played anyone. Going into Tuscaloosa, even as a blue chip team, it's a tough place to play. It's arguably top 3 places to play, and I just don't think there's any way Alabama goes and drops this. 10.5 is a lot of points, but I think we're going to see the classic Alabama team here, and they're going to come out and just punch them right in the face, stay on top, and just accelerate. So I'm going to take Bama minus 10.5. I believe they win by 21.
That would be nice.
Christian would absolutely love that.
Christian.
I'm so excited to be able to sit and watch some football this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
I do not.
Sadly, yeah. Some of us work for a living, right, Cam?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not liking how our picks are lining up this week, boys. This typically never ends well for us when we all agree, for the most part.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes.
It can't get worse, honestly. We're doing pretty bad overall.
Most of us, yeah, overall. I mean, last week we were 4-5, but I mean, our first season we were like in the 600s. College football in the past 3 seasons has gotten a lot harder to pick.
That's true.
And we also did more games where, like, we did Northwestern that one year. They covered like every game they played.
Mm-hmm.
So they're the darlings of the podcast. We put them on every week just cause.
Yeah, and then Arizona last year.
Yeah, Arizona. We haven't found that team yet this year.
Maybe it's one of these two teams we're about to get into.
Yeah, Washington and Maryland. We added this one to the board late. I wanted this one on. Washington hung tough with Ohio State. What I thought was going to happen happened. Ohio State had better depth than Washington, and that's kind of where it fell off the rails later in the game for Washington. But now they're taking on Maryland, who is undefeated. So we have a 3-1 team that held tough with Ohio State for most of the game. And then you have Maryland, who's undefeated. There's a lot of hype on the Maryland side in the Big Ten right now. Not exactly sure why, but they're 4-0. I mean, you got to give undefeated teams their due, I guess.
Their freshman QB has been pretty special so far, so
yeah,
that's where most of it's lying.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good game, personally. The line is 6.5. The over/under is 52.5. Maryland, they beat Wisconsin 27-10. I don't know what that says because Wisconsin is not a great football team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Then they beat Towson, they beat NIU by 11, and they beat Florida Atlantic by 32. Washington, to me, they haven't really played a whole lot of good teams besides Ohio State, but they kept it close with Ohio State. They lost by 18, but they just couldn't score. Man, I'm going to sound crazy for saying, well, Washington has to travel from the West Coast over to Maryland, and those West Coast over to Maryland or over to the East Coast games have been a struggle bus for the West Coast teams. I know Dan Lanning was just complaining about playing Penn State. And you know what I have to say? Cry me a river. You're in the Big Ten now. Yeah, I'm actually thinking I'm going to take Maryland plus 6.5 here. I don't know if they win, but I think they do keep this within a touchdown. So, Cam, who do you got in this one?
I hate to say it because, I mean, Cody and I have the same picks for every single one. I feel like it'll be a really good game, Maryland-Washington. I think they match up pretty well. I might even give Washington like a favorable edge, but that jet lag's no joke. We've seen it plenty of time. I almost want to bet the under just to be different, which is 52.5. They like it though because it hasn't changed yet, but it's a tough one. Oh shoot. How about we go to Christian? Let me think on this just a few more seconds.
I understand where you're coming from, Cody. I like Washington. I picked them last week. I think that they're just a more talented squad across the board. You got a freshman quarterback. I get they're at home, but this is a big opponent that they're about to play, and I trust Demon Williams a little bit more. And if you look at the rushing game for both of these teams, it's night and day. Jonah Coleman and the rushing attack for Washington has been really special so far this year. He's got 6.5 yards a carry, and they've played some pretty good teams, including Ohio State, who Coleman had put up 70 on 13 carries. He was still running well against a good Ohio State defense. So I don't think that Maryland even compares in that regard. So I understand what people would think, like this is a hot Maryland team. They're feeling good. Their coaching staff is really fired up. Their young quarterback is playing well. But I just think across the board, like I trust Jed Fish way more than I trust Maryland's coaching staff. I trust the run game from Jonah Coleman. Like unless I'm missing something and he's out, I don't even think that this should be close.
And before you actually make your pick here, I do want to throw out one disclaimer for the running game for Maryland. Like, I know he's not averaging a ton of yards per carry, but they're more of an air raid team as well.
Mm-hmm.
So their rushing stats typically are lower. I know yards per carry is down, but
yeah, I think that plays into.
And if you look at the quarterbacks, Washington's Williams Jr. is only 80 yards behind Washington. So sure, they're giving up 80 yards passing, but they still have almost 270 yards more rushing. So it's still pretty even.
Well, look at the attempts. Demon Williams has 90 attempts to Malik Washington's 134. They're way less efficient, and if they're gonna throw the ball, I think that favors the better athletes on Washington's side. So I'm just gonna go Washington minus 6.5 here.
Okay.
I get it. I get the matchup. I know why we picked it this week. It's exciting, but I really think Washington's going to beat them by 2 scores at least.
Yeah, I'm accounting jet lag here because I think of Oregon plays.
It's a 3:30 game. I don't know. That would be a noon start for them.
Oh no, for sure.
I don't think that's that bad, honestly.
I'm just throwing that out there because it's just been, as you've seen, besides Minnesota last year going to the California schools and winning, typically the teams that travel across the country haven't done as well. Because I'm not saying that Washington doesn't win. I'm just saying it's going to be closer because of all the travel and flights and whatever.
Yeah, it could have an impact. But I think if it was if this was a noon start, yeah, Washington would be screwed. But I think since it's in the afternoon, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
Okay. Cam, who do you got on this one now that you've heard us yap about it?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Washington as well. Even looking at their last 4, Colorado State, not a bad squad. They're not great at all, but they're quality. Washington State's actually a really big game over there. It's outside of Washington. Washington State's probably not that quality of an opponent as of right now, but when those two teams get together, sometimes you don't have a clue who's going to win. It's always going to be a dogfight. And then of course losing to Ohio State by 18. Maryland only beat NIU by 11 points, like 20-9. You could only put up 20 points on NIU at home. I mean that kind of sells it for me. Quarterback's pretty even though Christian said with the attempts, rushing game. I don't really think the flight plays into this at all. Home field advantage maybe a little bit, but it's Maryland. They're like a Minnesota squad. They know they're on a good run, but they know it's going to come to an end, and it's going to be this week against Washington.
All right. I mean, all that very well could be true. I might be having too much hype on Maryland here. But our next game is Minnesota at number 1 Ohio State. I believe the last time we played Ohio State, it kind of turned into a blow. But typically, I've listened to Ohio State's podcast like in years past when they play Minnesota, and Ohio State is always worried about Minnesota because they just seem to struggle. The line for this game is Ohio State 23.5. Their offense hasn't been setting the world on fire by any means. They've been living off their defense. So if Minnesota's offense can figure out a way to put up points, it would make it an interesting game because Ohio State struggles to put up points at times. Because I know Washington's a good team, but they only put up 24 that game. Like, when you hold an opposing team to 6, I'm expecting you to probably put up around 30. Especially with Ohio, with Jeremiah, you have the best receiver in college football, and you're struggling to put up points. They have a freshman quarterback. So maybe the freshman thing is coming in a little bit, like he's still learning the ropes. Hopefully he doesn't figure it out this week. That'd be terrible. But Ohio State's favored by 23.5 points. They need help from, like, to win by 23.5. Have they, besides like a no-name, like non-Power 5 school, have they beat any Power 5 schools by more than 23?
This year?
I don't think they have. Yeah.
No.
Not this year.
No,
I don't think they have. I think I'm going to take Minnesota plus 23.5 here. We'll see how Lindsey does. Like, if we go back into the run pass, it's going to turn into a blowout quick. But I think and I don't know if Darius Taylor's going to be back because PJ keeps that close to the vest until right before game time. I'm hoping he'll be back this week, but I don't want it to change our offense too much.
Is it bad that I hope he doesn't? Like, that I have this weird feeling that I hope that Darius Taylor does not come back.
Like, I want Darius Taylor back as an athlete, but I'm afraid our coaching staff is going to take 2 steps backwards if he's back.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to take Minnesota plus 23.5 here. Cam, who you got in this one?
I think Minnesota could definitely keep it in the 23.5. But, I mean, even if Minnesota puts up 14 points and we lose 38-14, we don't even have to lose 38-14. We could lose. Yeah. Anyway, I'm taking the over. I like the over a lot here. It's low. If it does turn into a blowout, Minnesota puts up a touchdown and a field goal, and we lose by 38, we cover. So I definitely don't want to bet against the Gophers here this time, because I think they do have a shot of keeping it. I don't think we have a shot at winning the game at all, but I do think we have a shot within keeping it with under 24. But I think the over is much safer here, and I'm going to go with that in case it's a blowout.
Yeah. See, I understand where Cam's coming from there, but I just don't know if Ohio State has the offensive capabilities to put up 38 points in a game against a Minnesota squad whose run defense has looked a little suspect at times. But before they played this week, they were number 1 in rush defense. I don't know if that was a game plan, this thing. I'm hoping Minnesota can rattle the freshman quarterback. The problem is this could turn into a rock fight, like a 17-7 rock fight, which honestly wouldn't surprise me at all. Ohio State's offense isn't that good. I'm sorry. They have great skill players, but they're... No, it's not. Look at their games.
All right.
Hold on, I'm pulling up Ohio State's games here. Before Christian picks. I'm because they put up 37 against Ohio. They put up 70 against Grambling. Ooh. But they beat Texas 14-7. Ohio was 37-9, and I can tell you Minnesota's defense is already better than Ohio's. Washington was 24-6, and I'd put Minnesota's defense more in Washington's range than anything, like comparably for any other team they played this year. So that's where I'm getting that. I don't think Ohio State's putting up more than 30 this game. And if they do, it's because our offense is turning the ball over. So... Christian, who do you got in this one? You be the tiebreaker because you're not so much of a homer like I am.
Well, you're not going to like my pick then, because I'm taking Minnesota money line on this one.
Oh! Whoa! Wow. Stupid pick of the week, Christian style.
Yeah, you could say that.
At Ohio State?
Dude, they have nothing to lose. Going into Ohio State means nothing.
God.
Minnesota plays them tough every year, man. This is our year.
What? You think You think that they're getting...
all for it.
You think they're going in, Ohio State's like, oh, Minnesota, we're scared. No, they don't care. They have nothing, and Minnesota has nothing to lose. They're running out a freshman quarterback, and Lindsey's just got to go in there and sling the rock. I don't think it even... This is the worst Ohio State's been, and they're somehow ranked number 1. It doesn't make any sense to me. They only won 14-7 against Texas, and we see how terrible Texas is. Minnesota is going to win the Big Ten this year. I am so certain of it that I'm going to put real responsibly gambled money on this game. 1,200 plus 1,200 for the money line on ESPN Bet right now. That's crazy.
Fair enough.
I think that this spread is disrespectful. I think it's crazy disrespectful.
I agree with that.
Because if you're going off of Washington, Washington's defense, I don't think, holds a candle to Minnesota. And they held them 24-6. I think that a spread of like 17 or 14 or something would have been much more appropriate. 23.5 is free money. So lock it in. If you're responsibly gambling, I would do plus 23.5 every day of the week. But even further than that, Drake Lindsey just won a huge game. He's been playing well. Even in the Cal game, he was playing well. I don't think that your issue lies with him. I think the offensive line has been really good. Definitely better than the past couple years. And man, Ohio State looks beatable, more so than ever. And yeah, they're going into the shoe. I don't even think they're going to sell out this game. I don't think that anyone is thinking that this game is going to be close. This is going to be the best upset that Minnesota has had in recent memory. And it's, I think that they could win this game like handedly if they wanted it. If they really wanted it, I think with Darius Taylor, don't do that. This is going to be so fun. We have to clip this. But
Minnesota going and beating the number one team in the nation on the road.
Blowout. Minnesota wins by 21.
I think they win by. I think they win by 10. This game's gonna end like 31 to 20, maybe 4. That's gonna be my 31 to 24 or something. Hits. Yeah. I think if you're same game parlaying this, the plus 23.5 and the over, and then maybe Drake Lindsey passing prop, that's free money. But the only thing I'm worried about is that if Darius Taylor comes back, even if he is 100%, I feel like Harbaugh is going to crap down his own leg, call the runs. I think they need to start hot. They need an extended drive immediately. If they get the ball first, they need at least 8 plays. You cannot go 3 and out against Ohio State. You can't lose. You're going to be demoralized on top of them being morale boosted. And you just have to have an extended. I don't even care if they score. They need to get past midfield on an extended drive. That's all they really need to do to prove to me that they can win this game and they can compete. So, and let Drake Lindsey throw the football. We said this last year with Brosmer. We said it this year. We said it amongst ourselves. If you give Drake Lindsey, and I said this last year about Brosmer, if you give Drake Lindsey 30 passing attempts, you will win football games that you don't think you could win. And I think that starts right here. I think that Drake Lindsey 30 attempts, spread the ball in the backfield. If Darius Taylor is back, do not give it to him 20 times. I want to see fame. I want to see Turner's out too, right?
Turner got hurt.
I want to see Cam Davis in there. I want to see the ball thrown. That's honestly it, because I think that Ohio State's defense is not as good as it's been, and I think that they're missing a lot of the pieces on offense that would have made them really special. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith is crazy, but who else do they have that's really threatening you? If you think back on the old Ohio State wide receiver cores, you had Marvin Harrison Jr., Emeka. You had 2 guys, that's just an example. You had 2 guys that you're scared of. This year you got 1, and you got Kerry Brown playing his best season by far. You have John Nestor playing his best season by far. And Coy, I think, is going to have his best game this year. So I think... Oh, something's going on with Cam.
Yep.
Hello? Oh,
he is frozen.
He disconnected. But just to cap it off, I think the spread is like crazy. I think that's almost guaranteed to hit, but I really think that they have a chance, more so than ever, to win this game. So
yeah, I'm right with you. And that's the other thing is too is like it's not even the receivers that I'm talking about. Like Ohio State's quarterback, I think he's going to be a stud in a couple of years. But if you're going to get Ohio State, you get them now. This is the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon's going to be a little bit tougher, especially after winning at a whiteout game in Penn State. I'm starting to look at them a little bit differently than we were before with their quarterback.
Yes.
But Ohio State is gettable. This quarterback hasn't impressed me. I had one of the receivers on their team on our college fantasy football. He has done nothing, and he was supposed to be their number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So Ohio State has less weapons. The only thing that I'm worried about is stop. Like, you got to tackle. If you can stop the run, you're going to shut Ohio State down. Make them drive the length of the field, as you said. Get across the 50. Because I don't think they can consistently drive the entire length of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So Minnesota plus 23.5 is a steal. Minnesota money line, I'd feel iffy about, but I think Minnesota can win this game. They play Ohio State tough, like we have said before. So this could be our year. It wouldn't surprise me if they pulled it out. And if I had to choose a top 10 team to lose this week, it'd probably be Ohio State for sure. And that's not just me being a homer. That's just what I think. So
yeah, I think you're scared of Oregon more so.
I'm scared of Oregon. Yeah.
That more so than Ohio State, but I just like it makes sense. I know like last year I would not have picked this upset. If they played Ohio State, obviously I would not have picked this upset. But I think that from what we've seen from Ohio State and what we know we could get out of Minnesota, what is the likelihood that we're going to see what we can get out of Minnesota? I don't know. Probably not great. But if you get that 1 in a million game where everyone's clicking, the play calling's working, and things are going your way, and you shut down Jeremiah Smith, most importantly, that you could win this football game.
And before we move on, I'm just going to make one more comment. The most Minnesota Gopher thing to do would be to beat Ohio State in Columbus and then come out and lay an egg with Purdue at home next week. That is if we win versus Ohio State, I am legitimately afraid of Purdue because that's just how Fleck has done it. We'll win a huge game, right? A monster game. And then we'll go and lay an egg next week against a team we should be blowing out. So I think this is good. I think the second half of the Rutgers game built a lot of confidence in our team.
Mm-hmm.
Gave us quite a bit of fire. It reminds me kind of 2019. We had that scare with Fresno State, but our offense played amazing and our defense figured it out throughout the season, and that's what led to that 11-2 record that year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not calling. It's not the craziest money line I've ever seen picked on this show. Zach,
what do you guys think the likelihood of us just doubling Jeremiah Smith the entire game is?
That's
100% should happen. You should have a bracket on him constantly. I would tell the coach pregame, make someone else beat us because it's not going to be Jeremiah Smith, and obviously they're going to try to scheme him into stuff, and that might get you into trouble. There might be some big plays, but I mean, I trust Drake Lindsay enough that I think that they could stay in it if it's a slugfest, and I don't think it will, but if they needed it, he's there.
All right. So that's going to be a fun game to watch this weekend. Definitely will be talked about a lot over the next until Saturday, until it's played. We'll kind of be talking about it, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we have number 3 Miami at Florida State. Florida State lost to UVA last week. Did you guys see the replays of what I was talking about?
Mm-mm.
So, okay, basically, I'm just going to run through it quick. In overtime, the second overtime, UVA scores a touchdown. They run their point after attempt team onto the field. Well, in the second overtime, you have to go for 2. So then they ran their offense on the field, and they reset the game clock for them. I don't know what the rule is on that. I know that Florida State has a right to be upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
But number 2, it didn't matter because you threw an interception the next drive.
Right.
And you had a guy catch the ball and bobble it for 10 yards and catch it out of bounds who was wide open, which is honestly one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in my life, how he continued to bobble it all the way through.
Yeah.
So no excuses, Florida State, on that one. I just thought I'd throw that out there since you guys hadn't seen it. It was a heck of a game. I watched it. It was fun to watch. But they're taking on Miami. I'm going to start this one off. I'm taking Miami minus 4.5. Florida State does not impress me. They had that good game against Alabama, obviously. But I think Alabama was still working out quite a few kinks that they seem like they've kind of figured out a little bit. So I'm going to take Miami -4.5. I think they win by 10 or more. Cam, who do you got since you have your pick in already?
The thing I'm kind of looking at here is Miami's going for the trifecta. They've beaten USF. They've beaten Florida. What's Florida State to them? They're going for the Triple Crown. Might as well go do it right now. UVA, they could be a better team than what we've expected. They definitely, I mean, obviously they held their own against a pretty good Florida State team. But I just think even though Miami lost Cam Ward this year, they still have a pretty good squad. And it might be close, but it could be close the first three quarters. But I think Miami's just going to deal with it better. Florida State's got the amazing home field advantage. All the noise they make, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But I think Miami's by far the superior team here, and they're going to come out with the dub. So I'm going to take Miami -4.5.
The chop will not save Florida State this week. All right, Christian, who do you got in this one?
You guys are saying a lot of good things about Florida. I agree with most of them, but I think that Florida State is legit this year. I think that, they lost a game that they probably shouldn't have, but that's just college football now. And I think them getting that loss out now before this game was probably better than them winning that game close, because now they're thinking about, are we real? And now they have something to prove. And it's at home. And I think that Florida State has a very good environment for them to play in. And we haven't really seen Carson Beck. USF, I think that they were too hastily ranked, even though we like them a lot. Notre Dame's a good team, but he barely got 200 passing yards. It wasn't really him that was moving the ball. And I think Florida State's offensive scheme is just going to be so confusing. And there's a lot of youth on Miami. That's something that I don't think many people have said. I know that Florida State is like a ragtag group of transfers and whatever, but they've bought into a system clearly that they like. And I think that this game was circled on their list just like Alabama was. And they were prepping probably for this game before UVA, and they let that one get away from them, which I think can happen, especially nowadays, if a team outplays their expectations. So I like Tommy Castellanos. He's got a few picks. I wish he would be a little cleaner. But I just think that Miami's going to be confused defensively, and I think Florida State has a good enough defense to slow Miami down. So I'm going to go Florida State +4.5.
I would just like to throw out there right now, before so that I can say this later, I think Georgia Tech I think they win the ACC this year. I'll give them. I mean, they got to play Miami in the championship, I'm assuming.
Right.
I will. Yeah, Georgia Tech is looking really good right now.
They were.
I mean, they struggled against Wake Forest, but
they had a scare. They had a scare last week.
I'll put them as a dark horse to win it for sure. But we'll see, because Minnesota likes to do that. Even in 2019, they would play close with teams and then rise up to the big games. So
yeah, they don't really play anyone in conference.
No.
So, and they got their win against Clemson, I guess. So
yeah, so I wanted to throw that out there before we got too far past that. Up next, we got Mississippi State at number 6, Texas A&M. A&M's favored by 14.5. Whoever put that spread is evil. And the over-under is set at 55.5. Whoever put the spread on our spreadsheet put Mississippi State +14.5. That's hilarious.
That is
the favorites to go there.
Oh, sorry. It was the first thing that I saw. I'm sorry, that was my fault.
No, you're good. I was just laughing. Christian, you're the SEC guy, so obviously we'll let you take this one away first.
This one's fun. I probably wouldn't have put this game in our picks this week if it was really up to me. I think that Mississippi State is like a feel-good story, and they're playing really well. And they just had a really tough game against Tennessee where they looked good. But I like A&M a lot. I'm a Marcel Reed truther. I think he's playing, right? It was Lenore Sellers that was banged up a couple weeks ago. So, yeah. This is going to be a really fun matchup because what does Mississippi State have to lose? I think they're going to go in there and really give them a good game. And I think that's reflected in the over-under. 55.5 is a lot of points, and I think that they'll probably sit right around there. But I just think Texas A&M is a better team across the board. I think that Mike Elko's got them really figured out now. They've had their couple tough games already. They just played Auburn real close, and then they beat Notre Dame in a real close game. So they're battle-tested, and I think that they're ready for a game like this, especially at home. So you're going to get a really good environment. But statistically speaking, if you look at the teams, they're pretty evenly matched. But I'm going to stick with A&M minus 14.5 here.
Cam, you can go ahead and go next.
Looking at A&M's last 4, 3 out of their last 4 games, they've put up 40-plus points. And, they played a good Auburn team. So obviously it's going to be tough to score against a good team. Not exactly ideal for over-under on that one. But then you look at Mississippi State. They won 41 to 30, they lost 41 to 34 in overtime. They've put up 38. They've put up 63. Like Christian said, spreads reflective of that. I personally like it a lot. I'm really hoping it's not a grinded out game, and it's one team scores a touchdown, the other one kicks 4 field goals, and that's the game. I'm gonna try rocking with the over here.
Okay. So to me, I think this game should be on this week because we have lack of choice of games this week too.
Yeah, I guess, sure.
And when you have a 4-1 Mississippi State team who just put up a heck of a fight against a good supposed to be good Tennessee team in the SEC, it's hard to not put this game in. I think A&M does win this one. I think A&M by 14. I'm with Christian. I believe in A&M this year. Mike Elko always has good defenses. But it wouldn't shock me if Mississippi State keeps it close.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we're going to find out if Mississippi State is a feel-good story or if this is a real
football team
thing. Yeah, if they hold close or somehow pull off this upset, Mississippi State should be talked about in a different light.
Definitely.
But as of right now, I think A&M by 14.5 is fine. It's kind of a big spread, but the only thing that worries me is A&M's defense looks a little shaky. I know Elko's fixing it, but we'll see if that continues to trend that way or if they figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming they figure it out just because of who's the coach, but
right.
Good. I for these games, I know there's not a ton of ranked v ranked or a ton of huge games, but I think it could be an upset-ridden week of college football.
Definitely possible. Definitely.
So, We're
on the right track for it too.
Yeah. Will this season be as crazy as 07? Stay tuned to find out.
No. I don't think
07 was nuts. Anyways, anything else you guys wanted to talk about? Any news?
If you're listening on Spotify, come check out the YouTube. We got a nice new overlay that I think looked really good today, and we didn't get many viewers, which was sad, but we'll see.
We'll have to get Zach on. He's the one that draws the views.
Right.
And don't forget to comment and subscribe if this is your first time listening to us. Thank you for listening to 3 dumb guys try to talk college football.
This is our week, man. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, this hopefully. Because before this year, we were 66% dang near, or 60% dang near on our picks until this year.
Yeah, we were up there.
At least I was. Mm-hmm. So... And the pundits can't be doing any better, so.
No, I doubt it.
But From here at Dinkytown, we'll see you here next week. Row the boat, Skyema, go Gophers.
Mounds.
Roll Tide.
And roll Kent State Golden Flashes. We'll see everyone here.